Hello everyone. Well, finally after some time we had some parts come in, and this is something that we've been waiting for quite a while here. Let's get this opened up. Okay, and what we have here is our Soleil logic analyzer. Come with a USB cable and a ribbon cable with the little square ends on it. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I had already received 2 sets of these little mini grabbers, and as you can see, it has the same connectors on it, so we'll better plug these right into here so we can get on our realistic project on finding a way to replace that display that's in it. Now I got to go online and download the program for this as soon as I can remember which one it was. Mark had sent it to me in an email, but that was on this computer when the hard drive crashed, so I lost that. So I think I'm going to have to send Mark an email. That guy's a brain for sure. He knows all about this kind of stuff. So this is going to be something that's a little new for me to learn and play around with. So maybe there's something else I can get under my belt. And we got several kits here. I got some parts here for the fender amplifier, so I can get that finished. And I've been waiting on these parts here also. And we have some caps and some orange drops and brown drops in here. And that's going to be to finish or to start the restoration process on this old rig. So we'll be probably getting on that this weekend while we're waiting on some more stuff to come. And this is a National NCX-3, and what this is probably one of the first tri-band radios I ever seen. Covers 20, 40, and 80 meters. Upper lower sideband CW, and they say it does AM, although I hear that AM has not been getting good reports, and it's just the nature of the beast on the design of this radio. So we'll be tearing this down this weekend. And you know, I always tell people when you buy an old boat anchor like this to go ahead and replace the capacitors and get that out of the way. When I got this radio, it came out of a working environment, so I've done nothing to it but used it. And I've been using it on 20 and 40, and it's been doing fine. I went to fire it up, and you could hear the buzzing going on inside, so I know one of the caps has failed in the power supply. But we're going to go through that and go ahead and replace all the capacitors in it, and I'll probably start on that sometime tomorrow if I'm feeling up to it. But right now we're going to jump on this Collins KWM 2 and show you a few tips on why we're not getting filament voltage on that one tube. So stick with me and we'll go through that, and it won't take us very long on that radio to go ahead and get that up and running. Alright. On the bench today we have our Collins KWM-2A. And you remember now last time we checked it out that we did not have filament voltage on one of the final tubes, and we pulled the 6146 out and checked it, and it was okay. However, one tube does work, but the other tubes does not. So I have the RF cage off the top and was doing a little bit of inspecting, and I just want to show you something that you might need to look for if you have one of these. You can see this braid that goes to the suppressors of each tube. This side here is very frayed. You can see right there just how frayed that cable is. So, and you can see that this is tarnished. So what I'm going to have to do is desolder these and install a nice new braided strap on it. And I have the braided strap here that will be used to fix that with. So in the process of removing the suppressor and plate cap from the tube, you can see it just broke right off after handling it just for a second. So that strap was in pretty bad shape. So to do this, what we'll probably end up having to do is remove both tubes, unsolder this capacitor from the bottom of this little bus bar, and as you can see it down there. Then we'll need to extract this solder off from here, and what this is the wire that goes over to the RF choke. Then we can remove this screw and also this capacitor. Now while I'm going to do that, is that heating this up, you know, this whole bar will get good and hot, and we don't want to transfer too much heat down to this RF choke. So to keep from doing that, we'll just remove the whole bus bar. So I'm going to show you this because you can hardly see it with your eye, but see how much I can zoom in on this. But you can see that one is also frayed around the edge of it also. So it's not going to be long before this one breaks off too. In fact, we probably can just take it and see there, pull it right off. Wasn't that hard at all. Now you got to think about it, you know, only 60 years old, so at the time, you know, it's going through vibration, been took off and put back on several times, so it finally got the best of it. Alright, we got the bus bar out, and you can see it's easier to desolder the leads of the components instead of trying to desolder the leads from the bus bar. So we'll get this cleaned up now, and I'll probably just chunk it in my vinegar salt solution and let it go at it for a few minutes and get all this black tarnish off of it. As you can see, she's pretty blackened, but when it comes out, it'll be nice, pretty and clean. Even the components will be good and clean. Well, as you can see, our bus bar is now pretty and shiny like it's supposed to be. And I got to plug in the big iron and let it get hot. Then we can go ahead and remove the old braiding from the bus bar and go ahead and install the new and get that on. Then we can put our bus bar back in and have proper connection going over to the tube plates. Okay, now that we got our suppressors put back in like they're supposed to be, we can now power it up. We'll turn the radio up on the edge, and we'll go in and check the tube pins and see if we can figure out, you know, to make sure we're getting filament voltage going to the tube. Okay, turn the radio on, and on our 6146s of filament pins or heater pin will be pins 2 and pin 7, and we have the meter on AC voltage. And as you can see, we have 6.43 volts. So we do have voltage going to it. Now, you know, we can only think that we're getting the right amount of current going to it since the other tube is lighting up alright. So I'm going to check that tube off camera because I'll have to reposition everything so I can see the tube pins. Alright, well I checked, you know, the voltage on both tubes and it's there. And we can see the filament in that tube is lit up. And we can plainly see the filament in that tube is lit up. So, now someone in the other video said they thought that they saw the filament lighting up. And it may have been for a moment. So, I noticed when I pushed the tube over with an insulating stick, the filament went out. Now what that tells me is that that tube socket is not making good connection to the pin of the tube. So we're looking at the bottom of that tube socket, and I want to show you something that's kind of a dead giveaway. As you can see right there on pin 2, which is one of the filaments, you see this black? That's corrosion and oxidation has built up in there. Now we could just go ahead and order some new tube sockets and replace them, which I'll talk with the owner to see if that's what he wants to do. And you can see over there at pin 4 is doing the same thing. Excuse me. But this can be fixed. I'm not seeing none up here on pin 7. It looks pretty clean. Pin 6 looks like it has a little corrosion on it too. So now what you can do if you want to keep the originality of the equipment, which what I might end up doing in this anyway, is you can desolder this terminal and wick all the solder off of it and straighten this terminal out. You can push this terminal right on through the tube socket and take it out and clean it and retension the contact on it. So we might look at that just to see how bad it is. So as you can see here, I have disconnected the wire from it and got all the wicked all the solder off of it. And if we're lucky, this little socket will push right out or contact. And there we go. So now all we got to do is just reach in here and grab it with our little needle nose and pull it right through. But anyway, there's our tube contact. As you see, there ain't a whole lot to it. And you can see it is corroded. So we'll drop this in our vinegar solution and let it sit and clean itself up. Alright, so now's a good time since I got it good and clean. What we'll do is check the tension on it, and we'll do that just by taking one of the tube pins and just seeing how much resistance we have when we're sliding it on and off the pin, and it's pretty tight. So it was basically what it was just a corrosion, and the corrosion gets on the inside of the little horseshoe area, and that keeps it from making contact to the tube like it's supposed to. Okay, got everything back together. All the tube pins have been removed and cleaned. That took a little while off and on, and we're ready to test it out. Got it turned on, warmed up. I've set the loading and the tuning. We'll go up here to our giant watt meter, and we'll see if we got power out, because this is one of the complaints that he had, was that he noticed he had no power out, or very little power out. So we're on the 2000 watt scale. It's over 130 watts. So looks like we're back going, and like I say, I'll get with him and see if he wants to replace those sockets or just use it like it is. Again, you know, a lot of people really like the originality of their equipment and don't want to replace stuff that doesn't have to be. So we gave them a good cleaning, checked the retentioning on them, so it should be good to go. So as you can see, this wasn't just actually a repair. It was more of just some general maintenance that has to be done from time to time. And when you own, you know, older boat anchor equipment like this, it's going to require maintenance. And that's why it's always good that if you're going to get in the line of owning stuff like this, is to learn how to do maintenance yourself. And you know, it not only saves you money and time of having to send it off, but it also gives you the good feeling of fixing something yourself. But you know, doing little things like cleaning the tube sockets and replacing the braids on the RF suppressors, you know, it's just simple maintenance stuff that has to be done from time to time. And you'll find this a lot in this older stuff, especially if you let something sit up for a little while. You'll find things will start happening to it. Anyway, beautiful piece of equipment. It's good to see it come back to life, and we'll get with the owner and see if he really wants to replace those sockets, or go ahead and let it go as it is. Anyway, I always like to hear your comments. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, because that really helps, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you now.